wheelchair users often go hours without assisted weight shifts, and many do not even receive appropriate cushions or seating reviews. And also, I'll go further than that and say that a lot of wheelchair users aren't taught how to weight shift, or not taught how the importance of weight shifting. Just a simple sort of lifting up the weight on your arms from your wheelchair. Just doing this will actually help people, shift the weight and give your skin a bit of a breather.
Yeah, that is actually very true. To practically show people, when you have your palm and then you press against it very well. With my dark skin, this may not be very obvious, but with this, you can see the blanching of that particular part, the change in the discoloration.
Yep.
Now, this discoloration over a long period of time, it means that blood is not flowing to that place is not supplied very well. And once there is lack of blood supply to an area over a particular period of time, what happens? There is ischemia, that is the death of that tissue, and then necrosis may also occur, which is basically the place breaking down and tissues dying around the area, and then you can have this that of course, because the person continues sitting on it, this injury now spread more, because of course there is more force, there is reduced blood flow to the area and reduced nutrition, and all these factors together make this wound to actually go wider and wider. And of course, when there is sepsis, that becomes even worse and unmanageable. So I think teaching the wheelchair users how to manage pressure, how to prevent pressure sore, and also issuing them with, especially people with high pressure risk, issuing them with good cushion that help relieve pressure would be the starting point in terms of prevention. And of course, based on the NHS standard, we have the Roho, and then we have the Starlock cushion, which are like on top of the grade. Although there's something I saw at some point, Core Ride, which is it's a type of cushion that is claiming to offload the ischial region and basically offload all the weight bearing of the ITs and help relieve pressure. But of course, pressure relieving accessories with the wheelchair is a very good starting point to help prevent pressure sore.
Yeah, definitely. And I say seating is one of the biggest things that can contribute to having, having to avoid pressure sores. Yeah, and there's so many on the market now. But it's important to get the right cushion for the right person. Another story I've got is that I've got a friend who's many years ago, when we were children, he had a pressure sore, and he spent 3 years of his life on a stretcher trolley, face downwards, because he couldn't his skin was so sensitive. And back then they had didn't have any Roho cushions or anything like that at all, or any J cushions or Specs cushions or anything. So he was just put on a bit of foam, and it caused sores because his skin was so sensitive. And it resulted in him being lying on the stretcher for 3 years, having to push himself around face downwards. And even now, his skin is still very sensitive. And he originally, this is no commendation for any particular company, but he stuck with one cushion from one time all the way up to now, and this is going over 40 odd years ago. He stayed with that same cushion, a maker cushion, because he's found that it's the right cushion for him. He realises that pressure sores can be deadly. So he's learned from there. But one thing I'd like to go back onto really is about education for wheelchair users about how important, as you just said earlier on, nutrition, hydration, weight shifting, and also personal hygiene as well. As wheelchair users, we're sat in our wheelchairs for hours upon hours, and in this hot weather, for example, that we've had recently, you become very sweaty, and the whole area around your backside becomes very moist, very hot. And it's a breeding ground for developing pressure sores, getting infections. At the very least, infections. So I hope people could listen to this podcast and actually sort of start to ask us questions about what they can do to help themselves.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. In terms of what they can do, as you've rightly said, I think just what I was discussing around different type of cushion that could be very helpful. I think there is no cushion out there. I think I should make this clear from my experience as a wheelchair therapist. There is no cushion out there that would 100% prevent pressure sore from occurring. No. The hallmark of the presentation would actually be avoiding the pressure from being there, and that is changing position, which is why the 24 hours postural management is the other thing I would add to the list you've already given, because if you are able to sit and then after a period of time leave the sitting and go to lying down, if the person cannot stand at all and there is the the stander, then the person can actually stand with that. And if that is not possible, at least moving to different positions in lying and also alternating all this after doing all the positioning, lying on the left, on the right, with face up, face down, and then that is if face down is safe. Also going on going on the wheelchair would actually help prevent the pressure from being in a specific area, because one thing is the other thing that puts people at the risk of pressure sore is the nature of the body, the way the body is structured, because there are specific pressure areas, and those are areas with bony prominences. That is where the bone is closer to the skin surface, and because of the positions of this bone, a pressure to those areas would actually meet between the skin and the bone, causing a faster squashing and of course pressure injury, which is why it is good to ensure that no matter the type of cushion you've gotten, no matter the type of wheelchair with the tilting space function and all of that, it is advisable that after that you alternate between sitting on the wheelchair and actually lying down, which would help in pressure redistribution.
How do we get around this this issue of who's actually responsible for preventing pressure injuries? Do you think it's a system-wide thing that involves everybody?
Well, each time, of course, the system is the easiest person to blame. If the system is a person, actually, well, the system is the best chance to have most of the time. But I think it boils down to everyone involved in the pipeline of care, and this starts from the immediate family of the person. I've seen people that they have families in the UK. Here in London, they have families in London, and they are unwell up to the point that they cannot actually leave their bed because of how limited their function is, and the families are not coming around to check what is going on, and they leave the care of such person to other people who are not related. I'm not saying people who are paid to give care should not give care. I am saying your thing is actually best managed by you. So your person, your brother, your sister, your mother, your grandparent would receive a more better care if you put yourself in helping them as much as you